Hello, I'm Frank, and I'm your host today, and we'll be talking about land with conservation easements at the tax deed sale in Florida. That's right, don't get stuck with a dog. Timeline of a dog property. It starts with the Land Conservancy buying or getting a property donated. Property taxes are then imposed on it. After that, the property tax, if it goes unpaid, a lien is placed upon it. The lien is then sold to a tax lien investor, or if not sold, the county holds the lien. Land Conservancy, as the property owner, then places the property in a conservation easement. By doing this, the Land Conservancy receives a tax deduction from the IRS, and future taxes on the property are reduced or eliminated. The tax lien is still in place on the property. If the tax lien goes unpaid for 2 years or more, the lien investor will pay all outstanding liens and applies for a tax deed. The tax collector then notifies the property owner, the Land Conservancy, of the sale to pay the tax or lose the property. If the tax goes unpaid, the clerk of courts will hold a property auction for the lien investor's interest in the property. If there is a bid, the winning bidder will receive the property from the tax deed sale. If there's no bid, the lien investor has the option to pay the dock stamp and recording fees and receive the property for the investment amount on the lien. The county then issues a tax deed with the conservation easement still encumbering the property. The Land Conservancy has now successfully evaded and avoided the property tax that was legally assessed to the property. The Land Conservancy still has a right to the property through their easement at the expense of the taxpayer. Note that if the lien was never sold to an investor at auction, the county becomes the lien holder. After 7 years, if the county is not paid nor forecloses on the lien, it expires. The Land Conservancy has now effectively avoided and evaded the property tax at the expense of the county and its taxpayers. This action causes the county to raise taxes on properties that do pay taxes and or cut services such as fire, police, schools, and other services, while the Land Conservancy receives a break at the expense of others, the taxpayer who pays their taxes. In the next part of this video, we're going to go over the life of a dog property from start to finish. The tax collector receives a tax deed application and then issues a tax certification of the taxes paid by the lien investor. In this example, the tax lien investor paid the years 2018 to 2021 to bring the property to sale. In this exhibit is the tax bill from the year 2018. Notice in the legal description that there is no mention of a conservation easement for the taxes that are being assessed against this property. In Florida, property taxes are paid in arrears. A simple way to understand arrears is such as if the police and fire had a gas card and charged it to fill up the truck and then used the gas. At the end of the use of the gas, it's time to pay. After the court clerk has received all the necessary documents from the tax collector, they will publish on their website and in the local paper the properties that are for sale. On the first property, it was redeemed because the property owner paid the taxes and all the liens, penalties, and interest. The second property in this exhibit is the real dog. As you can see in the legal description that it is encumbered by a conservation easement. The tax lien investor brought it to sale and no bids. Because there was no bids, there was no overages to collect for the original property owner who forfeited the property due to taxes that were unpaid. When a property receives no bids, the lien investor has the option to pay the recording fees and dock stamp and receive the property in consideration for the money that was paid as the lien investor for bringing the property to sale, bringing all taxes that were due and current at the time of the sale. The clerk then issues a tax deed based on the legal description of the property that was sold at the sale. Conservation easements in the state of Florida survive the tax deed sale. On this property, notice how the legal description contains a conservation easement. Before entering into a conservation easement, the property had taxes that were payable because the taxes in Florida are considered to be in arrears. If a property has back taxes that are due and payable, by placing the property in a conservation easement, we believe that it does not absolve the property from those taxes being paid, as that would be a way of tax avoidance or evasion if the taxes went unpaid. This exhibit is for the taxes that were paid for the year of 2023. The new property owner is encumbered by a conservation easement, and the conservation easement is a burden but a benefit to the Land Conservancy, who avoided and did not pay a tax for the year 2018. In these next examples, we are going to expose how this tax evasion and avoidance scheme works for the Land Conservancy so that they can receive federal tax breaks at the expense of the taxpayer of Putnam County. This is a tax bill from 2014. The taxes went unpaid. The lien was not purchased at the tax lien auction. Because the lien wasn't purchased at the tax lien auction, it was struck to the county at maximum interest of 18%. The county was not able to collect on it in the 7 years, and it expired due to statute of limitations. In 2014, Putnam Land Conservancy obtained the property from the previous owner. A tax was still due, but went unpaid. In 2016, Putnam Land Conservancy entered into an agreement with themselves for a conservation easement, also probably receiving a tax benefit from the IRS for doing so. And at the time, the tax collector did not collect the unpaid taxes. This property, along with 160 other properties that had a tax assessed to them that was due and payable by Putnam Land Conservancy, effectively may have allowed Putnam Land Conservancy to evade $11,520 in property taxes that were due to the Putnam County tax collector. In 2015, the Putnam County tax collector was struck tax certificates that were owed by Putnam Land Conservancy in the amount of $10,892. The debt was never collected and the liens expired, leaving the county holding the bag of a debt of $10,892. Currently, Putnam County Tax Collector's Office is holding an approximate $8,717 in tax lien certificates from the year 2016 that are set to expire in June of 2024 that are owed to them by Putnam Land Conservancy. Thank you for watching. We are still currently unaware how the Putnam Land Conservancy can obtain properties with back taxes, ignore the tax, and then place the property into a conservation easement and enforce their will upon future property owners that pay the tax that was legally assessed and due on the property before the property was entered into a conservation easement. And most of all, don't get stuck with a dog.